Hi, I'm Don from DonDronesOn. Oh my god, we may have actually turned the corner on download speeds this month. A more than welcome surprise after the data cap announcement. Let's talk about both of these. So let's start with the data cap. As a Starlink customer, you will have received an email from Starlink with the subject Starlink Fair Use Policy, if it applies to you. That email provides the basic gist of the restrictions and provides links to all the details. There's different versions around the world. I'm in Canada, and the new data restrictions are identical to those announced in the US and become effective at the same time, December of this year, 2022. Since the data usage is on a billing month basis, not calendar month, it will start with your first billing cycle that starts in December. Mine starts on December 27th, as it happens. In my case, the email included the statement, based on your data usage over the last 6 months, this policy will have no impact on your service if your usage pattern stays the same, which is very reassuring. I presume if you've had higher data usage, it'll say something like, you're about to get screwed, although perhaps more eloquently. The letter says less than 10% of users will, get screwed by the new policy. So how does this work? Are you going to get cut off in the last 10 minutes of some exciting movie and never know how it ends? No, it's much gentler than that. It's a soft cap. Residential customers still have unlimited data, but if you exceed 1 terabyte of data usage in a billing month, your speed will be throttled. And yes, that's terabytes, not bits. So you start out with what they call priority access, which they define as 20 to 100 megabits per second download speed. If and when your usage goes over 1 terabyte, you're dropped down to the basic access tier for the remainder of your billing cycle. Basic access means your traffic will get lower priority and you can expect slower download speeds, between 5 and 50, but you can continue that movie all the way to the end, perhaps with spinny thing interruptions from time to time. And if you can't stand the slower speeds, you do have the option to pay 32 cents Canadian per gigabyte to regain priority access speeds. Now that could certainly add up, but at least you have the option. And at the beginning of your next billing cycle, you pop right back up to priority access speeds, your pot of 1 terabyte of usage is refreshed, and life is good again. By the way, data usage in the wee hours of the night, between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m., doesn't count towards your 1 terabyte allotment. So if you have big uploads or downloads that you can schedule, consider doing them at night. Should you be worried? Well, obviously that depends upon your family's usage patterns. You can check your usage on the Starlink app by clicking on your account page in the top left corner or accessing your account on the web. Here you'll see your usage over the current billing month, with each candle representing 1 day. The blue part of the candle is what they call peak hours usage, and the gray bit at the top is, those wee hours of the night, off-peak usage. As you can see from my usage, about 90% of the way through the billing cycle, I've used 254 gig and will wind up the month around 300, less than a third of the data cap. I was away for a couple of days here, so maybe my usage will be a bit more in other months. Now that said, I'm on my own. I watch movies and binge shows on Netflix and Prime Video at HD quality, not 4K. I watch lots of YouTube, some at 4K, and upload typically 6 YouTube videos per month. I work from home 3 days a week, but mostly audio calls and screen sharing, not too many video calls. I would call myself a low to medium data user, averaging 10 gigabytes usage per day. If you have a bunch of heavy data users in your family or tend to watch a lot of 4K movies, you could get much closer to the magic 1 terabyte number. And 4K video is the killer. That sucks about 14 gigabytes per hour, depending upon compression algorithms and bit rates. So a movie might be, say, 28 gig. And if you watch, 3 4K movies per weekend, that would come to about 336 gigabytes, 1/3 of your allotment. Big, but not a disaster, especially considering that emails or regular HD quality videos consume peanuts by comparison. So what do I think about all this? Well, for me, using in the 300 gig range, it has no negative impact at all. And if it means that heavy users get lower priority than me during peak usage times, then I could expect my good citizen speeds to greatly improve. So I'm all for it. 1 terabyte seems like a generous amount, and it's a soft cap, since you have free and unlimited data usage after that. It's just throttled down to slower speeds, and you have the option to pay to regain your speed. Let me know what you think in the comments and share your usage numbers for comparison. Now, speaking of faster speeds, let's move on to the performance metrics. And let's start with the headline event, download speed. Check this out. My average download speed in November has been 115 megabits per second, almost double my October rate. And again, this isn't just a few measurements. This month, I made 63 speed tests, evenly distributed over the morning, afternoon, and evening hours. So this is legit. My speeds are massively improved this month. And have a look at the histogram distribution of speed tests. It has a lovely peak in the 50 to 150 meg range. So much better than the embarrassing distributions of the last few months, where half my speed tests were below 50 megs. Yeah, this is a great distribution. Both my average and median speeds were over 115. My lowest speed test was 32, and my highest was just shy of 300 megabits per second. 6% of my measurements were super high, over 200 megs. Definitely great. Upload speeds were also up, but not quite as dramatically, about 8% faster on average. The distribution is about the same as other months, although I must say I certainly caught some nice high speeds with my top speed test just under 30 megs up. Looking at the speed variation by time of day, the evening hours were still the worst, with 67 megs down on average, but the morning and afternoon rates blew my socks off at 127 and 151 megs, respectively. And comparing this to October, even my evening speed was 8% faster than my overall average last month. Amazing. And not surprisingly, my ping was better too, 58 milliseconds on average versus 70 in October. So did we turn the corner this month? I'd have to say yes, but a cautious yes until I see what December brings. Now, why this sudden improvement? Some of you may be wondering if more leaves have dropped off my trees, giving me fewer obstructions and so fewer retransmits. Well, maybe, but a lot of the leaves were already off the trees in October, and my dropout metrics tell a different story. As you can see here, the number of dropout events per hour was identical in November compared to October at 0.18 dropouts per hour. I define a dropout as an outage over 11 seconds, enough to be noticeable on an MS Teams or Zoom call, but typically having no impact on streaming services like YouTube or Netflix. And the total outage minutes per day was actually worse in November compared to October, with 2.37 minutes per day. Still pretty good, but since it's worse than October, it doesn't help to explain my fantastic download speeds. What about the number of satellites in operation? Well, that does continue to grow week by week as Elon pumps up load after load of satellites. We're now at 2,899 satellites in operation, up 15% compared to 2 months ago. Certainly, that increases the likelihood of my dish being able to latch onto a satellite without an obstruction, or maybe with less competition. So maybe that's the explanation. And it's also possible that I'm simply getting less competition from heavy users as a result of this data cap announcement. Even though the cap doesn't kick in until December, maybe people are already starting to cut back on their usage. Who knows? Again, let me know in the comments. Are you being more conservative in your downloading now? So there we have it, the soft data cap story and higher download speeds. It'll be interesting to see if the higher speeds are maintained through December and January. So be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to catch my upcoming videos. And there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description if you'd like to support my channel that way. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.